Take a seat and welcome to the sit down.
Well, welcome back to the sit down, and what is it? Episode 16. Episode 16. And we've got an awesome guest here tonight, filming back underneath the fireplace here. It's been a while since we've been underneath the fireplace, so it's good to get back home. And the guest here that I've got sitting next to me came to sit down is Brittany Dvorak. Welcome to Sit Down.
Thank you.
You're an avid listener.
I am, yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I'm going to interrupt you. First of all, congratulations. I know we've had one episode without, but with the ring, well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll put a ring on. There's a ring on Say's finger.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I do have to point out, we did something crazy. I don't even know if my mom knows this, but we got each other's initials. My mom's in the back. She said, "Are you joking?" Of course I know. They know everything. But we got each other's initials tattooed. Do you want to zoom in on that, G? Can you get that? Bang. A little bit further? How about right here? Nope. Twist it around.
Go where to hold it.
Can we see that? For those that are not watching and are just listening, I've got Said's initials kind of tattooed on the inside of my finger, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
She's obviously got mine too. Thank you.
Cool.
We're going to have some good discussion. There's some, I always say whenever we have a discussion, I like to have some meat and potatoes. There's lots of meat and potatoes to this discussion. There's going to be some like fulfilling, I hope your guys' hearts are open because you're going to feel inspired. But we're also going to have some fun because Brittany and I have known each other for a long time. And we both grew up in North Dakota. We got a fellow North Dakotan here. We got some Grand Forks stories, some UND stories. And I don't know if you saw on the intro, but I use wheels to come and sit down, and so does Brittany. And you're a legend yourself in Grand Forks, but you walk around with another legend. And I feel like people know who your walker is.
Yeah, Helen is my dynamic duo, I like to put it. Like, I don't go anywhere without her, but it rolls better for play on words there, but it just worked better, especially in college. In high school, I used a wheelchair within the school, which was a transition in general, but then just getting used to it, right? Like you would know as you first start. But then when I went to college, like transitioned to Helen, and I don't even know when or how, well, I know what, whatever, but when I was paralyzed and at Mayo, which we'll get into, but I had a recreational therapist, and in the nicest way had like a love-hate relationship for her, which is, I said it in the kindest way. And so I have a love-hate relationship for Helen. Yeah. And it just kind of fit.
You know, that's kind of like family. You know?
It just, like
a lot of love.
Family knows, like best friends. It's funny though when I like forget to tell someone and I'm like, well, me and Helen will be like,
who is that?
Thinking of an imaginary friend. But no, it works better, especially during college. Like, say we're getting an Uber to go to a football game or downtown or something. It'd be like, we need room for Hope, Casey, Sarah, Brittany, Helen, rather than Brittany's walker.
I love it. Yeah. Love it. Well, you're the first guest that's got wheels outside
I'm honored.
Of me.
Yeah.
So you should feel honored.
Helen's honored as well, too.
That's great. If Helen could talk, she would be honored.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. You know, we've got a lot to dig in, but you're a townie. You were a Grand Forks townie. And so for the North Dakota and the upper Midwest listeners, Brittany and I met at UND and her connection to UND, but you grew up in Grand Forks. You know that community better than most.
I do. And I don't know, like you and I got to know each other before your injury or accident and that chapter began for you. And so we can relate in the fact, like, Grand Forks will always have a special spot for me. Same with you and probably people around here, UND or whatever. Just like the gratitude I have and will always have for people and the support, and like we considered it like Team Brittany, right, during all my treatment and whatnot, is hard to truly put into words, and I know I'll never be able to like pay back their gratitude. But yeah, Grand Forks is a special spot for so many reasons beyond my journey. But yeah, correct.
Grand Forks is special because of the people.
Yeah.
If you drive through Grand Forks, I mean,
it's changed a lot since last, like when we were younger.
Spoken like a true townie.
I'm proud of
Look how pretty it's getting. If you drive through though, I mean, you got the Alaris Center on I-29.
Yep.
If you drive on Gateway, you'll get to the Ralph. That's pretty.
Yep.
We got Simplot.
Yep, smelly, but
A little smell. I mean, and it's really flat. When you drive over really dry, but the way you truly get the beauty of the Red River Valley in Grand Forks is to fly over it. When you drive over it, it's just a lot of flatness.
Yeah.
If you drive over the Red River Valley in the fall though, Anna, let's snap a picture of the Red River Valley aerial view, and it looks like a checkerboard.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's pretty cool, the amount of farmland. A lot of people think it's boring, but when you fly over the top of it, it's not too bad. But growing up in Grand Forks, tell me a little bit about just your childhood. Give us just a little view into how you grew up in small town North Dakota.
Yeah. So I am so grateful for my family, of course. Got to do a shout out for them for sure. But I was the firstborn, so I'm the oldest sister, bossy sister, cool sister, whatever you want to put it.
Yep.
And then I have a younger sister, and then a younger brother, and then my parents. So born and raised in Grand Forks, went to Kelly Elementary, so was a cougar, and then went to Schrader Middle School, was a Schrader-ator, and then went to Red River. So go Red Rivers.
My mom would call you a river rat.
We don't need to talk, like,
I'm just throwing that out there.
We're not here to challenge each, it's here. It's always funny, though, especially with, truthfully, I don't even know ever, like, the past mascots or logos and nicknames and stuff, but it is funny to hear, like, that one. Or the big one when we were in high school was Corvette High.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
Trying to think what else. It was during, like, state hockey stuff, and I was going through treatment at that time, so it was like more of a vague. I'm trying to think. Cake Eaters, and then Corvette High.
Sure.
Yeah, it was our thing. Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, that was my elementary years.
Yeah. So then you're an athlete. That's one thing we share is a love for sports. Athlete. What sport did you play? All the sports growing up? I mean, what was your thing?
Totally. Like, that's truly what I first fell in love with in life was sports. Like, my dad played basketball growing up, and played in college a little bit, and he brought basketball into our family, and all three of us siblings played. My mom played volleyball some, so me and my sister did volleyball. So me and Kylie and my mom has that connection, and then Brady played basketball too. So those are my two main ones, but I madly fell in love with basketball at a young age. I always joke like Sunflake soccer, did it for like a hot minute for the snacks. And then when like that was done, I was out.
Kind of over it.
So I didn't really do it.
Yeah.
So soccer was a thing, but not really. Track and field was like the young days when you go to Cushman Field, softball throw. But like that was the
50-meter run.
Yeah, not too much longer. Like running in circles was not my thing.
Yep.
But the softball throw at like those Monday night track meets or whatever was fun, but then when I got into...
I did that too.
Yeah. And then when I got to like competitive, I was like, So yeah, basketball is my thing.
That's so funny that you say, I just did soccer for the snacks. I kind of feel like that's why Anna records this podcast. She just comes for the snacks, comes for Carrie's cooking. Yeah.
But can you blame me?
I can't blame you. Sure. Yeah. I can't blame Anna. It's so funny. Talk about some of those things that I relate with. I moved out of Grand Forks when I was 5, just before kindergarten. Yeah. But I was skating at age 3. I did the Monday night track at Cushman. I felt like a really big, tough kid because of the softball throw. Like a lot of those things I can relate with. And another thing I can relate with is the love of basketball. Yeah. And that kind of leads right into some of the struggle that you went through going into your younger years. But tell me about the love of basketball and then kind of transition right into what happened after.
For sure. I obviously you have your story and memories and connection with basketball. And for me, I loved basketball so much and like excelled at it and went to UND camps and like had main 2 role models. I hate calling out people because you like leave someone out, but I had a big fangirl crush on Carla Beck. Okay. And then also Mary Perzo, which now Mary but and they both know it.
Yep.
And I stay super in touch with Carla. And then there was so many others too. That whole team was awesome. But I just lived and breathed basketball for sure. And then was on a traveling team, and there was like 2 teams in Grand Forks that we went head to head. So shout out to the Hoops, Grand Forks.
Come on, Hoops.
So we're the Hoops, with the Z. Oops, not the Z. Yep. And then the other team was the Swishers.
Okay.
Yeah. Grand
Hoops versus Swishers. What a rivalry.
Yep, big game. But actually, I don't remember the stats down. It doesn't matter. But I feel like it was pretty like neck and neck when we play each other, right? Kind of like a UND NDSU, right? Or rivalry game. You just don't know what's going to come, or Red River Central or whatever. But I feel like we were pretty like always neck and neck stuff. But really, really loved basketball. And his little girl like dreamt of, middle school, make the A team, and then high school and getting to play varsity and start and all the things, and then into college too. And my plan was not the plan God had for me, and which is obviously great. But it was tough. And so for me, I got to play, I'm trying to think through, I was diagnosed in October, or the fall of 8th grade. So I got to play through like this summer going into 8th grade. But I will say, like, I'm a big, I guess 2 things I think of is I think being an athlete as a little kid teaches you so much.
Yes.
Like, I, hands down, would not be where I'm at today without sports as a youth. And I got to play till I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Sports in general, like all the way through college, like NIL, all this stuff, like crazy changing, lots more to it than back in the day. But I am beyond thankful that I played sports so much to the age that I did. And I could have played beyond my journey of cancer and stuff. But for me, I felt like I had received the memories and the moments of sports through that point, that it was like adaptive sports were just not my calling.
Yep.
And it led into other, which we'll get into too on where I do now.
That's such a great thing. And I think we've seen it with past guests. You see it again. Like, sports is the greatest teacher of life. And I think as a youth, and youth sports, really as parents, I hope you encourage your kids to get into individual but also team sports, because you learn different things in different sports. For instance, let's just take swimming and basketball. Man, when you're in the pool, it's you versus the other person next to you, right? And there's lessons to be learned in that, because it's just on you. But when you go and you're part of a team, you're part of something bigger than yourself, that transitions to life so well. So you talk about, you've already brought it up, you're in middle school.
Yep.
Probably the most emotional,
oh God, middle school,
terrible time of kids.
awkward.
Yeah.
Emotions, like smell. Whatever.
All the things that you like cringe at now as a later adult, but you're in middle school, you're going into 8th grade.
Yep. And
just tell us a little bit of how your journey took a different path at that time.
Yeah. So, so I had, I was one that like didn't get sick much, like just always moving and grooving. And I felt a little off, had a little bit of a bump on my shoulder and neck. And then my pupils were a little different, and then felt a little off. But the biggest thing, back to sports, was I had Saturday fast break games, and I had asked to sit out. And my family and my coach, Mallory Youngblood, shout out UND, she, that's weird. Like, I avidly started and usually played all the way through, even at that age. So when I asked to sit out, that was like our first red flag. But otherwise, I didn't really have, everything else is pretty cool or chill, normal, whatever. And the only other thing was my best friend at the time had mono. And like, only way you can get that is sharing saliva, which like we were doing that, but we're like, what? So like odds of something of that, but otherwise like everything was fine. So without asking to sit out. Well, fast forward, we went to the walk-in clinic on a Saturday, very basic, like infection, breast, blah, blah, blah. Monday went into the dot ultra, kind of the same thing. And then that Wednesday, just vivid, right? Like you can remember your days and moments, but Wednesday, October 15th, was in history class, not a history gal, like at all. And that's when I really learned to trust your gut, listen to your body, and like how God sends you messages. And something out of nowhere like hit me that there's more. So they thought it was an infection is kind of what they were anticipating. And it just hit me, and I was like, I like almost had like anxiety attack of there's more. So I called my mom and I was like, I gotta go in. I need to go in. So went in that day, and my primary doctor, Sue Hafner, I don't know who you have.
I know Sue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I had a feeling you did with football too. She was busy, and Dr. Len was my doctor, and they're like, we'll try to get you in as soon as we can. Just hang tight, like be patient. Yep. And so gave my symptoms a little bit, and Sue stepped out, and Dr. Len was in pretty quick. So it started to like, okay, there's something. And they did a blood test and did listen to my lungs and all the things. I should say not all the things, because that was only 2 things, and they knew that there was more.
Something there, yeah.
Yeah. And so Grand Forks doesn't have pediatric like hospital or treatment stuff. It's more so if pediatrics here in town get treated, doctors have like a certain license. So AK, I couldn't do all my treatment more than likely here in Grand Forks. So they referred me to Fargo, Minneapolis, and Mayo Clinic in Rochester. So another thing that sticks out for me is at that time my dad works out of town during the summer, fall still, so he's out of town, and he came in, and my mom, dad, and I were in the the clinic office room, and I was on like the bed, and mom and dad were in the chair, and then the doctor, and they said you have to be referred. And usually like very connected family, I'd say on the same page, like, but connect before we like decide. And so it was the craziest thing, minor details, right? But that's where you have to like see the light and everything. And they're like Mayo Clinic. And at that time I said it same time as my mom and dad did. And I was just like, we're on the same team. I'm not alone. Like whatever is going to come out of this. And so I was like, okay, I got a basketball game this coming weekend, but let's go. Like, all right.
Yeah.
So that started that I would be going to Mayo Clinic, and then my whole journey is more you can get into too, but they called Mayo Clinic and said, hey, she's on her way, like here's her symptoms. And the doctor at Mayo said, well, you might as well do a chest x-ray and kind of get some base layer stuff, which was good they did, because I actually had a grapefruit-sized tumor pressing on my airway. So I usually have a cup if I speak to people.
Yeah.
So just a normal circle.
Sure.
Was that used to be a thing where you do that and everyone's like, oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
But no, like normal circle, and I had like a third of it left. Wow. So the tumor is pressing on my airway that much. And they're like, honestly, avid athlete, like that it didn't collapse when you're playing. That summer, right before I started school, my grandparents took me and one of my cousins, they took all of us cousins on like a 3-week motorhome trip. Yeah. So we were all over the U.S. and they're like, you probably had it at that time, but thankfully nothing happened while I was gone too. But yeah, so then they're like, you got to get airlifted to Mayo, which I can continue into that.
Yeah, it's wild to hear you say, and the innocence of a middle school girl, to hear, okay, you're going to have to go to Mayo, the best hospital in the world. And your first thought is like, shoot, I'm going to have to miss my game.
Yeah.
Like, it almost like gives me goosebumps in the sense of like your life was changing in front of you, but like you're just a kid. Like you're just concerned like, man, I have to let my teammates down like that. Shoot. And here you were with a grapefruit-sized tumor.
Yeah.
on your airway. So you get the news and you go down to Mayo. Was there fear in the drive down, or were you just kind of in the unknown of like, okay, maybe I can, get this thing removed and move on?
A little bit of it all, right? Like a lot of people, and I'll answer your question after that, but a lot of people like, do you wish, not that you wish that on anything, but would you have, especially with further into my treatment, but would you wish to not know life before? Kind of like you too, right? Like you got to experience so many things that maybe you do differently now or don't get to do. And I was like, first of all, like kind of a weird question, like in a nice way, but I'm just grateful. But I'm so thankful that I've gotten to do both, but more so like a child's mind is so innocent, right? Like you don't think anything else. So to answer your question, I was scared. I think the most that when it hit me the most severely is when I was going by ambulance out to the airport for the jet to pick me up because I got emergency airlifted to Mayo Clinic.
Yep.
So that's when I was like, oh geez, this is a little bit more than just a little bit of like a bump. Like classic mom and dad were kind of like, oh, you got too many books in your bag. That's when kids had books rather than
Yeah, there's no kidding. For the kids listening, we had backpacks and we would bring home 6 books every night.
And they were just little like feathers. Like they were half
big old books. You'd have to buy book covers.
Correct.
Remember those?
Yep.
I could not have any of the nice like covers. Like Marvel, Spider-Man. No, you had to have one color covers at the school. Come on.
Well, and then you never knew, like when you opened a page, like sometimes there's some drawings on there. Or leftover.
You could see whose book, so you could like look up the elementary or middle school and be like, I had Jaden's book.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But my parents were like, oh, so maybe you did that, whatever. But that's when I get in the plane, I'm on a stretcher getting pulled in, and I was like, okay, there's a little bit more to this little bump. Again, I didn't notice the tumor pressing on my airway. And then get to Mayo Clinic, and it wasn't the helicopter, it was the jet. So I land at the Rochester airport, and then an ambulance picks me up there and brings me to Mayo Clinic, and the ER there is expecting me, and get brought up to a room. And then that night, my dad and my grandpa drove through the night to get there by like 6 a.m. I laughed because my dad was obviously nervous, same as my grandpa. Love my grandpa, man that loves to talk. And so he kept my dad awake. But my dad's like, I was starting to see like pink pigs walking across the road. So it's like 3 a.m.
Yep.
But so they got there. And then that next morning, my mom, dad, and I were greeted with the team at Mayo Clinic, which is really cool at Mayo Clinic because you have everyone right in your corner every morning. They start out their day that way. So a valid thing. Back to team, which I'll kind of probably touch on, or if you haven't picked up yet, like there's no I in team. Again, I would have never been able to do everything I did or get where I'm at today without just anyone, but especially my family.
Yeah. It's cool because for those that are listening and watching, like you can already kind of see the ending. Like Brittany's already won. It's going to be cool to kind of now see how she won. But yeah, like Brittany's team, she talks about it, and I know her family, her dad. You think, I thought your dad talked. I can't wait to meet your grandpa. If he beats your dad out in the talking department.
He is no longer. I just have my grandma still with us.
Okay.
But Grandpa Kenny, everyone that will watch this or hear, like everyone knows Grandpa Kenny was chit chatter.
Sure.
So
well, man, your family's good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you say that from the start of like, man, this was not done alone.
Oh.
So your team at Mayo comes in, and that first day, what do they tell you?
So, you can't remember every detail like nuts, but this fall will be 18 years since I was diagnosed, right? Like, whoa, what? That's like a whole lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't remember every detail, as good and bad.
Right.
But just they came in and, talked through symptoms and whatnot. And I should say when I was at Altru, Sue and Dr. Lund were like, you probably have lymphoma or leukemia. So going into it, had a idea that it was maybe that, hoping like, this thing, again, basketball game on Saturday, I got to get back for.
That's right.
And Yeah, so they kind of same questions type thing, but then we're like, we needed to do a biopsy and a bone marrow test. So I had that done with bone marrow in my back on my hips. And then they did a biopsy of my lump that it was kind of like the size of a golf ball, but it was partially underneath and partially above. So it didn't stick out that much, but otherwise, like I said, I had no other symptoms. So they took bone marrow and the biopsy of my lump and then blood tests, and I was diagnosed. So at the time they put in a port on my right side under my chest as well, in case I would have something further down, and little did they know I would need it. So yeah. So started out the first couple of days with that.
So you get diagnosed with, and you're...
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I got diagnosed with leukemia.
Yep.
And there's a couple different types. Mine was T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So classic ALL you hear.
Yeah, let's spell that out on the screen. That's a lot of words.
Yeah, I'll test you.
Spelling bee coming up here in May. Let's see, put that one. So you get diagnosed with leukemia, and obviously as a middle school kid, 13 years old, do you remember the emotion that hits you in that moment when the doctor walks in and says, "All right, Brittany, here's what we got." Do you remember that moment?
So one that really sticks out and was kind of a pivotal moment into the not bigger part, but the next kind of big chapter of my journey was, so I had the biopsy, or I was in ICU recovering from my little surgery and the bone marrow test, and the doctor, he took my parents to another room to give the diagnosis. And in the ICU, you have the windows so the nurses can see you. And at the time, my grandma and grandpa were down with us, and my siblings, I believe, were too. They weren't in the room at the time. But God bless my parents. I get it from my mom too, but very Norwegian too. But she had red eyes and walked back, and I'm like, okay, there's more to it. And so from that moment, I told my parents in the nicest way, as probably a 13-year-old, I was like, I don't care what it is, and I know I'm young, but I am in on every conversation. It is my body. I'm not going to sit and wait to learn secondhand per se. Yeah. So I remember that when you asked that question, and it was a good thing to learn, to figure out right away, because it helped down the road. I knew what I was going into, but feeling wise, I was scared. Again, I was like, okay, so we can't get back by Saturday. I was still so set on the simple things in life. I remember, so kind of jumping around here, but get diagnosed, and like I mentioned, there's so many different cancer diagnosis and journeys and whatnot. But for girls with leukemia, it's 2 to 3 years long, and boys are 3 to 4. So I was like, okay, that's not just a 6-month or just a quick surgery and kind of just recover. So figured that out, and I was put on a protocol of 7 stages. So different stages, different intensities, and then the classic maintenance is the last one that you go through until you're done. And so started on, the first step was steroids and getting rid of the tumor. So I never had the surgery to remove that, but rather the steroids took care of it. And so starting that, I was like, wow, this is the whys, right? Why? And then what? And classic girl thing, I'm gonna lose my hair, oh my gosh. I remember asking my mom, my grandma was there, having kids, family, just all the things, right? You're so young to try figure out what, oh my God. So those were kind of the first, but then I remember we weren't in the ICU anymore. We were in the hospital room, and my parents were kind of just athlete set goals, without being an athlete, having those goals to get through during treatment played part in part. But I remember my parents said, all right, we're in this together. Already had that team feel, I touched on already. But they're we're all together on this. There's one way, there's another way, and we're going the positive. And it was instilled from the beginning. And I would say my parents have always, me and my siblings have been raised with that mentality of, you be nice to everyone. You never know when people are going to come back into your life. You have no right to be rude. Everyone's going through such a thing. And that positivity was a thing, but it really got brought out during this because my parents were positive, like have fun with it. My dad's good at bringing humor in the situation. My mom's good at I was a girl, like a middle school girl, awkwardness. Like she was right up in my circle for all the appointments, and my dad would be with my family and whatnot too. But a lot of the emotions for sure, right? It's scared. I didn't even have that much will I get through it, right? Or will I pass away? Or those extreme stuff. And I think it's because I was so instilled on the mindset of there is no other way.
Yeah, this is it.
Because people ask that, and I'm sure you've gotten it too, how'd you do it? Or how'd you get through? I'm like, I didn't think any of this.
This is the hand that I was dealt. I got to play.
Yeah.
I say it all the time because you're right. People always ask that question, oh, how did? Well, what else was I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And
I'm so grateful for that. The mind is so powerful. And I realize that as you get older, or not as you get older, but you experience more years. And it's, to me, I'm kind of I don't want to say what a dumb question, but I'm not going to just give up. And that might be my athlete.
Right. No, I get that.
I don't know. But yeah, so those are probably the first few emotions, feelings. I was never I'm sure there was moments sort of doubtful or whatever, but I was ready to go. Challenge me, give me that goal. And back to goals, my thing was all right, let's get better, get back to basketball.
Yep.
And so really strived off of that for the first 9 months until the next journey kind of came along.
So you're battling. You're in the process, you're in the fight, all with this kind of end goal of, okay, I'm going to beat this.
Yep.
And then I'm going to get back to doing life like I want to. And then, like you said, 9 months, another turn in the road.
Yeah. So, treated many different ways during my treatment of pills, IV pushes and bags through my port, bone marrow tests, spinal taps, breathing treatments, all the different things. So I had specifically with the spinal tap, I had spinal taps, and most of my treatments were at Mayo Clinic. So spent a lot of time down there. Some stuff back in Grand Forks, like I touched on, Sue and Dr. Len were able to administer. But specific 9 months into it, the spinal tap, it was my 13th one. So I'd had some, and things went as planned and treated such things. And so I had this one on middle of the week. And then that weekend, my family has a lake place. We were at the lake, and I was back to goal setting, very stay in shape and just, I'm not changing, do my thing, push me, whatever. So this is active, all the things. And I was out jet skiing, whatever. Usually I could beach the jet ski and wrap it up. And I was trying, and I couldn't. And at the time, my brother must have came down just ironically and had to help me. And then jumped on the golf cart, and we went up to our place at the lake, and I would crashed hard, just was tired. My parents said, you probably overdid it. Super lot of sun, just beautiful day at the lake. So that was a Saturday. And then that Sunday, woke up, and it was Father's Day, ironically that year. And so woke up, and my siblings and I are in a room in an air mattress type thing. So I was trying to get up to go to the bathroom, and you said it on the first podcast where you're kind of all right, legs, wake up, whatever. So I tried to get up, and I face planted type of a thing, and did the same thing, what the heck, come on. And so my family and parents, I was able to get up, just was weak. Went to the bathroom, and then back to the conversation on my parents, including me on everything, is they called the doctor on call on Mayo on speakerphone. So I was right there in the conversation. It's all 5 of us, and the doctor on call at Mayo, I don't remember every word, right? I'm just what in the bananas is going on right now? Because it wasn't instant. It was just, something's not right.
Yep.
And so I just remember the doctor was talking, and something about is she going paralyzed? And I'll never forget, my parents pretty much got offended almost. Why would they say such a thing? And so no. And I was what did she just, kind of in my head, right? Like, did she just say what?
Did they just say the P word?
Yeah.
Paralyzed? What?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me.
No, like, yeah. So I just, vivid memory. And so they said, get to the closest ER, which you go to Cass Lake. So closest would be Bemidji. Bemidji has none of my files, which is nothing against them, but I haven't done any of my treatment there. So we went to Ultra. So Father's Day morning, my siblings jumped in the back with my mom, and my family carried me into the car, and I sat in the passenger seat. And as we're sitting now, you can attest, like, your muscles fire and you can just sit. And I was starting to like slide down into a ball, and none of my muscles were starting to like not fire appropriately. So they put pillows to like prop me up and seatbelt me in, and I was just like, what in the actual is going on right now? Because that's when and it was starting to get kind of foggy. And so my dad was driving rather fast with the flashers on to get me back to Ultra ER, shout out back to Sue. She left her family on Father's Day and had the ER waiting for me. So we pulled into the ER at Grand Forks, and they brought me in, and I would say I never like measured it, but I think of it as too many Tylenols, or like I've never done that, but say you take too many type of muscle relaxant stuff, it's kind of how it was. Like, it was a slow process. And so when we left the lake, say I was like 35% paralyzed. And again, just very weak throughout. I could talk. I was very quiet because, again, just trying to digest everything. And then when I got to Ultra, it was probably 75%. And then by the time they got me up to a room, and Ultra was kind of like, haven't really seen that, you're going to have to get back to Mayo. So I was going to be emergency airlifted again. And I was in the Ultra hospital room waiting. And I was like pretty much 98% paralyzed.
Cannot move.
Yes, whole body. So all I could do was like move my head left to right. Couldn't talk. Never in pain, which I'm so grateful for. But I'm a side sleeper, fetal position. And so I just wanted to go to sleep and wake up from this nightmare. I just vividly remember that. And so my mom and Sue and my dad, and I'm sure other family too, again, it's starting to, or as in siblings, kind of, because it started to go fuzzy too, because my brain was just like whacked. But they'd pull the sheets and then put pillows on both sides so I could try to like fall asleep. And then I couldn't like speak, so they thought maybe I was in pain. It was a wild time, man. Like, I've never done drugs, but that's got to be what it's like to do drugs, because I was like, what's going on here? Yeah, and I couldn't communicate, and so that was before I got officially airlifted down to Mayo Clinic for the second time.
So all this is happening, but you really don't know why.
Correct.
So when did you eventually find out, like, this is why I'm paralyzed right now?
And that's where my parents maybe got it on the side, right, or whatever, and I don't fully remember because I was just not all kind of checked in. But once we got down to Mayo, so I was emergency lifted down to Mayo, and this time, I don't know the differences, but the quicker jet, and my dad was with us. So at that time, like, that one was really trippy because I'm taken back out in Grand Forks, taken back out by ambulance to the airport, and like put into the thing. And my parents have photos that it's so good to have, but it's like, holy, like instant brought back to that moment. And I was getting hot and cold, and I had a washcloth on me or whatever. And we were brought down, and so I don't remember much, but then parents are with me fully. So right when we got to Mayo, they they must have suspected, and this is probably where my parents could answer better, but they essentially spent like 3 days or a couple days on like the main floor at Mayo Clinic, or peds floor, and then I'm sure they did certain testing to make sure it wasn't such a paralyzed muscle type thing. And then they started to flush my body completely of fluids to see long-term impacts. And so flushed through my port, just a ton of fluids and IV stuff to clean me out, and then see essentially what was impacted from the toxicity. So that's where after all that, it was confirmed that that spinal tap that I had received, the chemo in it was a toxic dose, and my body rejected it in the way of 90% paralyzed.
That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, I'm sure you can attest, like there's moments you kind of forget everything until you really start to talk through it. Kind of like our mindset of like, there is no rearview mirror. Like we're forward. And so, yeah, it's nuts. It's gnarly.
It's gnarly because I can't imagine this where you're 13, 14 years old and the stuff that's supposed to be helping you win is the stuff that knocks you out.
100%. And I think of it like, I refer to it even to like get kicked in the face. I was like, what? I'm doing what I'm being told right now. You tell me to go to these appointments. You tell me to do such. You tell me to eat this, that, whatever. And I'm like, I'm doing everything that I'm being told and I get rewarded with this. So it was tough.
That's so relatable for so many people, and you don't have to have had cancer. You don't have to have had a spinal tap, bad chemo. Like that's relatable for people though, where you feel like you're doing all the right things and you're fighting the good fight, and it's like, okay, why can't I just catch a break here?
Totally, yeah.
Why is bad things happening to me? Like I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
Like, do you see my heart right now, God? And at that point, what's going through your head? Because you're paralyzed for how long? And then do you start getting some stuff back? And what's going through your mind as you kind of recover from that?
Yeah, no, those are valid questions. And so, like I said, I spent roughly a couple days on the floor. And at that time, again, can't communicate. But I'm starting to become more clear in my brain. And I was like, it was, again, must be what it's like to do like drugs, because I had moments where I'm like, am I who I am? Like, is my name Brittany? So pause there. But after the hospital or being on the floor, I was brought to the rehabilitation area. And so I just remember getting wheeled in to that room, and I spent 16 days there. And there was all these toys. Like I couldn't I couldn't speak yet, but in my head, I'm like, holy, I'm at this level, which is rude. And that's where one thing post all my treatment, I'm like, I always try to be a good person or not judge. And I'm like, God, I was terrible. Like your mind, you think things, whatever. But that was one moment that I was like, I'm this person. And then instantly I was like, no, like that's a bad way to think about it. But like more so, okay, this is my new challenge. And so there was like the lifts and the different equipment to help function and get better. So then I spent the couple days, 16 days in there, and I had like PT or physical therapy, recreational therapy, occupational therapy, speech, like swallowing tests, all this stuff. So in simple, I had to retrain my body how to start working again.
So you go spend 16 days of learning how to live again a little bit.
Yeah.
You get a lot of function back, and then do you get to go home?
Yeah, so the first couple days I like graduated. Swallowing test went really well, so I didn't have to do much with that, which was wonderful. And recreational therapy, again, moments you have to pick from. Without that, I wouldn't have met Helen, as in the actual Helen. And then she had a student that played college basketball there. She's from Rochester, but her name is Emily, and keep in really good touch still to this day. So without that, I wouldn't have gotten to meet them. But didn't do recreational therapy much, but the main two were physical therapy and occupational therapy. So spent the 16 days there, and then they felt that I was comfortable to go back to Grand Forks. So then got back to Grand Forks. I was still in high school, so just back home, living at home, and did occupational therapy and physical therapy back in Grand Forks.
Still fighting cancer.
Valid.
Like don't forget that part of, okay, so now you're partially paralyzed, but you're still in the middle of your cancer fight. Tell me just a little bit about going back home and the reception and really the homecoming that you got when you came back home?
Back to like community and Team Brittany kind of became a thing. So I had a carrying bridge, and that's how I was so grateful, and I'm a lucky gal and person to have such a following at that time. And so we communicated through carrying bridge. And so it kind of became Team Brittany was like our whole thing. Because again, my whole family was like, it's not I, it's us. Like, so Team Brittany was a thing. And so right when I first came back in October of 2008, that after the first 31 days when I was getting diagnosed and came home, like that homecoming was nuts. Because I'm like, wow, like crazy what all just happened. But then it was a whole nother level to come home after I was paralyzed, to life then. And I lived upstairs, so it's like steps and just the day-to-day living, Matt. Like that's one thing I really try not to take anything for granted anymore. And you take all those things for granted. And so just the routines, like everyone gets in their shift and their routine, and holy, routine was a little different.
Routine looks a little bit different.
Yeah. So I was able to, so when I kind of missed this part, but once I was back or at the rehab floor at Mayo, things were starting to, functionality was coming back. And like I was kind of touched on, but I remember the first few days, Ellen DeGeneres was on the TV again, humor, like good stuff. So trying to like, okay, that's normal. I've watched that before. But then again, like the big moment for me, and I couldn't externally communicate any of that, but more so internally. And I was like, am I Brittany? Because my mind was like healing. And I was like, yeah, I'm Brittany. And then like, how do I write? So to try to get me to be able to communicate, they gave me a whiteboard and a marker, and I didn't have the strength to write. So that really triggered me that day, because I'm like, I literally can't do anything right now. And so trying to learn how to do the things that are just normal. I hate the word normal too. Like, what's normal? Who's normal? What's not, whatever. But that we're used to. And so I just remember like, am I Brittany? So you, and then you draw the B, like it was weird. So that was the first couple days, but then towards the end of my 16 days, I could move more stuff, like body, use the wheelchair outside, but at home, like held on to people's arms a lot or could touch points or whatever. So definitely different than the day I got into there. So as in I could do the steps, and I think I probably slept downstairs the first couple of days to just get acquainted to that. But yeah,
get acquainted to the new normal. Because it shifts. You're right. What is normal? Everybody's got their own version of normal. You and I's version of normal now looks very different than it did years ago.
You know what? A really good friend, she's like a big sister to me. We did like spring break during college, her and I, and I think we were at Miami when we officially like determined it. But I'm Different by 2 Chainz. Like that was like our theme song, because we were like on the beach, like picking up Helen, like trying to get through, like, and for like someone's for sure recording this, gonna make money off of it. Yeah.
Back then they probably put it on Vine.
Or MySpace, like video of the week.
No kidding.
But yeah, so I feel like we can relate to that we're different.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna own it.
Yeah. I wish we had the rights to that song. Just blast it.
It'd be fun.
But think of this. I heard this the other day. Like songs in 2010, okay? 2008, 2010, that range. We are 16 years away from songs that were released in 2010. Back in 2010, that would be like listening to a song from 1994.
It's so weird. Like,
that is wild to think about.
Like, I was gonna say, what's a song? I honestly, like, what would be a song that came out at 2008 or 2009?
Like something like
Fergie.
You say Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, like Black Eyed Peas. Like, remember, like I Got a Feeling.
Yeah.
Like that stuff.
Yeah.
Like us listening to I Got a Feeling now would be like listening to like a old Garth Brooks song. Wild.
Totally. Like, Yeah, it's weird. Like when you see the videos now or the reels where like I was that old when I realized this is a 10-year-old song. I'm like, oh my God. Like that was just yesterday.
I know. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm different got me off on a tangent there.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, but different is what it is. I say it a lot. Like, it doesn't mean that it was bad. It was just very different.
Correct.
And so then number one, you beat cancer.
I did. Which I'm so thankful for.
Which is badass.
Thank you.
You know, any cancer survivor, any cancer survivor is inspiring. To do what you did in your situation, yeah, it's badass.
Thank you.
And so you beat that, but then life looks different.
It does. Yeah.
And so just tell me a little bit about, life after you beat cancer. You're going into high school. What does your high school look like? And then going into college and really kind of where I met you.
Yeah. So I was very grateful that I got to stick with my class through high school. And those are the little things in life that really truly do mean a lot. So I was able to be with my friends and not have to meet a whole new class because I couldn't keep up. So I did school at home, majority like it all, for the first 2 years. Because again, like 2.5 years was the length of my treatment overall. And then the last couple of years of high school, I was able to go for couple hours and like meet with certain teachers that I couldn't really do at home on the side in a separate room. And so I think of like special people that really played a pivotal part in that to let me graduate my class. And so that was just huge. Like,
tell me about some of those people. Who are some of the people that come?
I hate calling out names, and I said that earlier because you always forget someone. But the first one I think of is Marilyn Ripplinger. She was my like academic career counselor that helps you like do your class and stuff, right? Like, and apply for scholarships, like the classic high school stuff. It was like, but she was bomb.com. Like she was awesome. And then I had a couple like paras per se that would come meet with me at home or when I was at school. My writing didn't come back as fast and it's still not perfect. I hate the word perfect too, but is not how it was before. But nowadays, like, who writes almost? Which is sad. Like, who knows how to do cursive?
Crazy. So true.
Like,
yeah.
Crazy. So, but they would be in class and take notes for me because teachers go at the pace of the other students, and I just couldn't physically write that. And weird, but at that time, you couldn't have computers, right? So, like, weird. Crazy how time flies. But just a lot of good souls in that. But shout out Marilyn for sure because I wouldn't have been able to graduate in my class. So going into college, different than I planned as a little girl of wanting to play sports and this and that. And so that was tough for sure to kind of have to accept. And it was something where, and uncontrollable, right? Like didn't have that control to change it per se, but rather accept what was handed to me. Kind of like you said, your hand of cards, what you were dealt. And so I knew into career-wise, during my couple years at Mayo, we'd get to get invited to go to like a Wild game or a Minnesota Timberwolves game or a Lynx game and do like an outing. And that's when I started to realize like, well, sports don't happen without people on the other side, as in staff.
Right.
And so I remember my dad, we were at a Lynx game. Shout out to Lindsay Whalen, actually. She
Legend.
Local
So
area
good.
too. Yeah. She was really awesome. She keeps in touch too. Great. But we were at a Lynx game and my dad had just mentioned, because he knew how much I love sports and especially basketball, and he's my coach. And he said, well, why don't you get involved in the other side? Because I had told my family, like, I don't think I'm going to do adaptive sports. Like, I've gotten what sports was given me. And so that's when I first kind of like, I was kind of stupid. Like, of course, there's staff to put on games. And so, yeah, that's where I first kind of fell into where I'm at now. But with that, I was thinking UND because I was like, I just had so much to grow and learn, post-paralyzed and all this stuff. I wasn't able to just go to Florida or across the country. I could have, right? But it wasn't going to be the best option. So UND was a good spot. But then back to our winters in North Dakota, doing generals at the university with, again, having to now switch to a walker. Like that was a big chapter to jump from a wheelchair in high school, get judged or put in a bucket, unintended even. Kids don't even mean to, right? But in a bucket of that and now have to like go and walk on my own. And that's just a whole thing. So UND wouldn't have been the fit. So I did my generals at Northland, in Eastside, and then went to UND, full intentions to graduate there of communications with a minor in sports business. So that was that college or school-wise. But that time where I was like, man, I got to get out there again and learn how to just live and be who I am now. And so Amy Stroup played volleyball at UND. Can't remember her married name now, but she coached my sister in volleyball. And so I didn't even have the guts to go up and ask her. But my mom went and asked her at something if I could ever job shadow her because she worked in UND athletics post her time at UND in volleyball. And so I interned under her while I was at Northland, volunteered just basics with football, special projects of athletics. And then that was during my time at Northland. And then when I came to UND for college-wise, I did a little bit more there and then was switched over to the foundation side and worked under Mike Manassa and Val and Steve. So
and that's where I met you.
That's
where I met you. Yeah, when you're working for the foundation, and I remember Steve would come in and we'd do the letter writing and
the thank yous.
The thank yous, yeah. I actually got to work under Val and do that for a year.
Yeah, you were after me.
Yeah.
Right?
I was after you.
Yeah, this is nuts. Well, flashback.
So yeah, that's
in the year, but
that's right.
Yeah.
But that's how we got to meet. And as you kind of, now you're at a point in your life where you can look back, like you just said, 18 years since your diagnosis. And man, is there a point or is there a couple points where you look back at the storm of your life? And there's times when it did feel like a storm, I'm sure. Do you ever think back and think like, I learned that in the storm? Like this, I wouldn't have been able to learn this had I not been through, fill in that blank. Is there something that you can look back on now, sitting here 18 years since your diagnosis, and think to yourself, had I not been through this, I don't know if I would have ever learned how to do blank?
It's a good question. And the first thing I think of is everyone goes through stuff, right? Like I'm not here to overpower others, but everyone's journey is definitely different. And when I kind of come back to your question, but right before I got diagnosed, I had went to Jason Stadstead, a local name Central guy that had a brain tumor and he passed away. And we went to Relay for Life, and his motto for life was keep on keeping on. And I just remember when I left there, I was like, gosh, it stuck with me. And I went home into our little area of Notepad and wrote on there, life's a ride. And lo and behold, like months later, I got diagnosed. And I was like, whoa, what? And so that was my motto during Team Brittany, and life's a ride was my thing. And why I say life's a ride is, life comes at you fast. And I think like I literally went home, wrote it, and had a drawing. And it was a little roller coaster, like a stick figure of a guy on a roller coaster. Very beautiful, but had this little roller coaster, and life's a ride. And more so the meaning of it is life comes at you fast and you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Heck, you don't know what the next moment's going to bring. So enjoy it. Get ready for the curves, the twists, ups and downs, but like be grateful. And so my two things was like life's a ride, but then the gratitude of like taking things for granted. So to answer your question, like I just took so much for granted in life. I took for granted the ability to play my one true love of sports, basketball. I took for granted the ability to walk with nothing. I took the ability to, like, when I was paralyzed, I had to shower with an OT with me. Like, awkward, like, no thank you, especially teenage years, you can relate. so many things that others maybe don't experience. But I have now realized I took so much for granted. And that's one thing I try not to do every day. I'm not great, like perfect. Again, don't like the word perfect, but I always want to be better. And that's one thing I carry really true with me is if they're all the things and junk and crap that I had to go through, if I can go through it and shine the light on what I've learned and they don't have to go through it, I'm all for it.
Come on.
So.
That's big time. I hope the listeners hear that, because you don't have to go through cancer. You don't have to have a spinal cord injury. Like, adversity is coming. You know, it's a matter of when. It's not a if. And so if you can take what Brittany just said of like, man, the little things, they matter, and hold on to them. The little things of being able to tuck your kids into bed, like your hands still work. You can sit on their bed.
Yep.
You know, little things of
being able to talk, see, like
you get to look, you get to give your kid a hug. You can listen to them speak and lie. You get to hear their laugh. Like, I think when you go through the storm, some of the things that you never think about become so much more important. And they usually revolve not even about the what you're doing, but who you're doing it with.
100%. And that, you say that so strongly, and it's so true.
Of, you know what? Yeah, playing basketball was awesome, but I love that you still get to go watch a game with your dad. And, you know, sure, I would love to be able to go and stand up, but you know what? Rolling in with the people that I love, I'll take that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather do that than walk in with alone.
Yep.
So
correct.
That's so good. And I completely agree with you that gratitude, it went through the roof for me when I went through my storm. It sounds like it did for you too. So now where are you at? You know, I know people think, okay, you went through all this. Now what are you doing, and where's life taking you?
Yeah. So I am a couple of different factors, but the three things for me with that question is I'm a passionate travel advisor. So I get to help people plan trips, and really back to my why, life is short. You are literally not guaranteed tomorrow. Take that trip, make that memory. And a trip doesn't need to be flying over to some bougie thing, like a road trip. Like, take that moment to build a memory. So I do that, and big advocate on wellness and just giving our body what it needs to live and thrive. And then more importantly, what a lot of people see me at still, UND ties, I work at the Ralph Engelstad Arena.
The greatest arena in the world.
Yeah, so still I will always have a Kelly Green heart.
Yep. Come on.
Valid Kelly Green heart as a little girl that played sports and just loved all the basketball players there. Gene Roebuck, all that. And then now I get to work alongside student athletes a bit. I don't work directly in the athletic department at UND, but I work closely with some of the athletic staff more than my own staff. Not in a bad way, but just how the industry works. But then, say a concert comes along, then I'm working with my staff a lot. So little involved, whole family thing.
You know, we got a lot of wheeled athletes, people that deal with some sort of disability that listen to this podcast. If you're looking to travel, you might want to find somebody that is a travel agent that knows how to deal with the challenges that arise with those that deal with disabilities. So we're going to maybe put a link, Anna, maybe flash it across the screen, whatever you want to do, Anna. This is your world. We're living in it.
I love that. She owns.
She does own the podcast. Like, she is the mama bear of the podcast. But let's get some information out to those people and let Brittany help them plan travel. Because you should not stop living. Yeah. Because something has happened to you.
100%.
Get out of your shell, get out of your house, get out of your city, go see the world. It is beautiful. Experience life. So let Brittany help you with that. If you just need help, you're overwhelmed by it, she'll help you out with that. Man, Brittany, you don't need to share all your goals and your dreams. I don't like to. I've always said to people, "You'll know my goals when I reach them." Yeah. That's a line that I used to say. But I think
of it as like in high school, like grad party, like, what are you gonna do in life? Loaded question. Like, I hate that. Yeah, but yeah.
Like there is part of that of like, I'm not going to share everything, but there also is a part of when people know your dreams, they can help you get there.
Yeah.
And I've shifted on that where I used to just keep it all bottled, where sometimes it's good to share a little bit of what you'd like to go do in life. Is there something on your heart where it's like, you know what, someday this is going to happen?
You know, not to not answer your question with one direct answer, but to think like my visions when I was younger is different than what it is right now. But I just try to really lean into what's God's plan and purposes for me. And I think back to what I've always tried to be is what I went through to give back on. And so I really have a spot for pediatric oncology, very philanthropic. So giving back in those ways is huge. And being involved in sports in ways has been a treat, and I really enjoy hospitality events area. But like in the most simplest way that seems so vague, but just to live life. And that would build off of like doing the travel or like allowing people to help them live every day to their fullest capacity. So kind of a vague answer because there's lots of little things within that. But we don't need to sit here for that long to listen to my whole list. But
it sounds like
say like live life. Like that is my goal, to help people live every freaking day to the max of your best ability. Don't get me wrong. I've got some days that I'm like, failed. But like they're like, go get it, man. Like, I just get so passionate about it because things have been taken away from me that I enjoyed so much. But I'm not going to dwell on that. Because again, like, why sit in the past? You have not, like, don't put a cap on yourself. So, yeah.
And clip that. That's gonna get used. That's so big time. It sounds like you just want to keep riding, right? Like just stay on the ride and help others get on it too. So that's super cool. That's powerful.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Well, thank you for allowing me to join in on you. I think it's crazy how when we first met, like you were a student athlete, I was your cool intern, like trying to tell you do your thank you or do your phone call or sit with your sponsor at the donor social.
That's right. I remember that. Yep.
And I think of like, I don't want to call it, but I think Keaton first, and then Reed was alongside me. I was there, and then you came after. But all you guys were super awesome. But we first meet that way, right? And then you have life adjust and change. And then, you know, we've connected to kids that have went through stuff now too. Some UND groups on how to make campus more accessible.
Yeah, y'all can hire us, by the way. I'm still waiting for that call. So I love...
not even the camp. I'm not going to even just call out UND. I'm just going to say things in general.
I'm calling them out.
You hit the button.
Yeah, like, you know, she works at UND. She's got to see these people every day. I don't. So UND, y'all can get better. Dr. Armacost, I have so much respect for you and I love you, but you need to hire me and Brittany to help you out a little bit.
I will say an uncontrollable too is the cold weather. Because half the time,
that is uncontrollable. You know, getting the ramps clear of snow, though, that is controllable.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Scary, just sliding down, but yeah.
It is. It is cool how our stories have intertwined, though.
And we're here.
And hopefully filling people's glasses. You know, if somebody sees something in your story and they say, I can relate with that, and they see what you've done, they say, I'm going to do it too. That's cool. When you hear the word, what is an overcomer? The word overcomer, what comes to your mind?
You know, I think an overcomer is handed a plate, a hand of cards, like dealt something, but they don't allow that to decide their journey. Rather, they don't see a path. Like they're ready to go more into it. Like they don't see any other option. So they're not going to let that be a burden. So deciding that option to move forward and want more. You want more of that challenge. Like you want more because truthfully, you know deep down that you aren't giving your best. And I feel like, not that God puts that on you in a bad way, but he knows you have more to give. And I think that overcomer is being challenged that way because there's more of you that is to shine into the world. And they is a vague term, but that willingness to allow you to give that to the world, your calling. So I think wanting more and that challenge to, you're not being your full potential. And so an overcomer is like, here you are, get after it. And that overcomer says, let's go.
We want more.
Yeah.
We want more. That is such a athlete response to the word overcomer, because it's like, you think you got me? I'll take another one.
Yeah.
Give me another round, whatever. I'll beat you. I beat you before. I'll beat you again. I don't care what's been dealt before. I'm just gonna keep on going and win. And that's powerful.
Thank you. Yeah. And I would say, like, I'm gonna call it, like, I've not been that way all along, right? Like, I've learned, I have grown, and I know I have been shaped through all of it. And I'm so grateful for it, because now being on this side of it, I say don't look back, but to take that moment to reflect, I'm like, holy man, I have grown a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I have went through a lot, and I'm not good. I was telling you too, it's hard to, like, you don't talk through it every day. Like, I don't go to everyone, like, sit down and listen to my story. Like, that's not me. But, like, to take that moment to just pat yourself on the back and say, you know what, thank you, God, for getting me through and allowing me that opportunity to become better. Because you know I had more to give, more to shine into the world.
It's all right to have tough days.
Correct. You need the tough days to 100%.
Yeah.
As you say, you got to always see your glass half full, but it's okay to not always have, or ever have your glass completely full, because that's boring.
Yeah.
Life is,
At least hey, as long as you still got a glass, you're all right.
Correct.
Just day by day.
Exactly.
And man, I think what she's saying is sometimes the overcomer is just to go to the next day, to decide, you know what, I'm going to move on. Today has been a day. I'm going to move past it. And today I'm going to take tomorrow on. Yeah. And sometimes that's all you need to overcome.
Because some people don't get tomorrow.
Right. Come on, preach, girl. Well, we could talk for probably another hour, and that'd be good stuff. But let's wrap this up. G, I'm not starting with you on something good, because you probably just ate something over in the back, and you probably are like, that was so good. So I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to think about this, because you're probably gonna say something you ate for dinner was something good today. So
I almost want to hear his something good before his actual something good, like what he was gonna say.
Tell me something good, G. What do you got? What were you gonna say?
So I was actually gonna say, we just posted our 2025 Wrapped.
Okay.
Oh,
that's not
and
bad.
The things that we've experienced, the people that we've met, and really just 2025 was my something good. It was awesome.
That's cool.
Wow.
Gee, that's so sentimental.
Like, she's like, oh.
That's a response.
Anna.
Has he ever responded like that?
Anna is a very proud wife right now.
He
Well
was
done.
thinking about this.
My last one was Pop-Tart.
I thought he was gonna say the Scotcheroo.
I totally thought he was going to say the same thing. He was probably going to say it too. He's just like, I got to think of something really sad. The past year. Yeah.
Rapper.
He was going to say the Ghirardelli caramels that he has in his pocket. I wish you could see him right now. We caught him red-handed. But G, way to be emotional, sentimental. Good work. We did have a great 2025. I will say that was something good.
Think how much you guys have impacted right now. Like, shout out to you guys, man.
Thank you.
You went through some airport troubles, all the things, but I don't know. I think it's sweet.
It has been cool.
We're gonna need you to we need you as our trip advisor, though.
Wouldn't that be fun? I'd be honored to come.
I might need some help.
Real into
Might need some help. I had a couple fails this year. We learned, but
again, you need those moments. The real.
that's right. Learning moments. Okay, G, good start. Better than the Ghirardelli caramel chocolate. Unbelievable.
Probably like melted in his
This
pocket.
guy. All right, Anna, tell me something good.
Mine feels a little bit more like Garrett's, just kind of superficial, but I'm grateful for other charging options.
Wow.
Because Andy plays with my phone sometimes. She just like gnaws on my phone screen. Yeah, and a flashy pic. No, we'll just hold it up for you.
Just hold it right here. Yeah.
Wait. Oh yeah, you got it.
Pops
Anyways,
right on.
yeah. So she was like slobbering in my charging port, so now I can't plug in my phone to charge it. But luckily, Garrett had one of these, so now this is how I charge my phone.
Team effort.
These are super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got like a cordless one that I use at night too. Super nice. And you're right. Like, what if your port stops working?
Well, I thought I was doomed. I was like, I have to
do?
get a new phone. And
Oh, that's stressful.
Yeah.
Everything's on your phone.
yeah.
Oof.
Good stuff. That is something good. I like that. All right. And Brittany, tell me something good.
I would say this past Saturday I was at Landon's Light 3-on-3 tournament. And Landon's Light Foundation has been a really special part in my life that has came about through Landon's journey that went through brain tumor or brain cancer has passed, and they started the foundation in his family. So that's just a whole thing itself, like my second family. But then basketball. 3-on-3s were the bomb.com growing up. Like Grafton 3-on-3s or the Gus Macker. So it was like reliving the days, but rather just on the merchandise side and munching on the treats at the concessions. But that was telling me something good because they had 63 teams, these little kids, like all the different ages and parents, and just so cool.
Awesome.
Great weekend.
It's going to be tough to beat Landon's Light. There's a lot of good in the world. I don't know if it even really matches Landon's Light and what they stand for and who Landon was and the fight that he showed. That's not even good. That's great. So Landon's Light, let's flash Landon and Landon's Light, the foundation they have. Great stuff, man. If you're looking for something to support, go support them. But boy, I've got two things for us to close this thing out. Brittany talks a lot about team and her team. Man, I've got my team. When you look at my recovery and the people that supported me, I was reminded of sport and why we do sport the other night when I was watching my sisters. Both of them are playing high school basketball. And after the game, these parents sign up to make dinner for the girls for the bus ride home. And as the girls are walking onto the bus, there's a mom there holding a box full of food. And they're all, giving her hugs and saying thank you. And they get on the bus. And as I'm rolling by the bus, all I hear from the bus is just like laughter. And I remember thinking that is honestly the best part of being on a team. It's not even, they won by 30. It wasn't even the game. It was the bus and having the mom that made all the food for them and getting on the bus, having food to eat and laughing with the people that you get to call your teammates, but really they become an extension of your family. And I just remember rolling away from there a few nights ago thinking to myself, man, I wish everyone got to experience that bus ride because that's what bonds people.
Yeah.
So that was number one. And then number two is we're in the middle of winter in North Dakota. And I'm not going to talk about Ghirardelli caramels, you shallow kid. I'm going to talk about real food. And it is soup season. Soup. I love soup. And so far in the past week, I've had chicken tortilla soup and lasagna soup. I'm hoping in the next week or two we can have my favorite chicken wild rice.
Oh, the chicken Alfredo, or what was it for?
Chicken wild rice?
No.
Chicken tortilla.
Yeah, that's hard to beat.
It's good stuff. I love any type of soup. Chili. It's chili season. Not the chili as in, ooh, brr, I'm cold. I'm talking chili. So I love soup. And soup is my something good. I ate soup 3 times in my past 4 meals. Get a little sourdough bread, dip it in there. Come on.
Yeah, a little dunk.
It always scares me the people that say they don't like soup.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
a red flag.
there's a million different soups.
Yeah,
How do you not
any
like
of them?
any soup?
You don't like any?
Right?
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a little.
If somebody says they don't like soup, that's just bad parenting.
It starts.
Your
with the
parents
dog.
never gave you no soup. Come on. So, all right, guys. Hey, before we get out of here, if you guys could just hit the like, hit the follow, that always just helps us. It's completely free. You're never gonna have to pay to listen to this podcast, but it would really help us out and get this message out to as many people as possible. So hit the follow, hit the share, hit the like, and we'll see you next time on the Sit Down. Thanks for coming.